The girl I have a crush on has a boyfriend. Oh, how bad is it then? Does it look that bad? Yeah, it looks pretty bad. Sunburn. Hi guys, so today's topic is all about what to do when you have a crush on a girl that is already in a relationship with someone else. So this could be for lesbians, or it could be for guys or anyone else. So basically, if you have a crush on someone that is in a relationship, this video is for you. So let's get straight into the first thing I want to talk about, which is we accept the love we think we deserve, which is, I think, a quote from Perks of Being a Wallflower. And basically, this just means that we subconsciously are attracted to people who are unavailable to us because it stems from our own way of feeling about ourselves. Like usually what we do and what we put out into the world is actually a reflection of how we feel about ourselves. So when we get crushes on people that are unavailable, it usually stems from the fact that we have low self-esteem and low respect for ourselves. Now, this is something that I did when I was younger. I did fall in love or have crushes on women that were not available to me in some way. Either they were much older than me, they were an authority figure in my life, like a teacher, or they had boyfriends and I knew they were straight. And back then, I really did have poor self-esteem and I had hardly any respect for myself. Because when you have high self-esteem and you have respect for yourself, mostly respect for yourself, because self-esteem, I think, is something that fluctuates. I think sometimes we can have really high self-esteem, really low self-esteem, depending on whichever situation we're being thrown into, you know. So you'll probably have high self-esteem, hopefully, if you are around your friends and family, but you might have low self-esteem when you're going into a new job and you're feeling anxious and all that kind of stuff. So self-esteem kind of fluctuates, but self-respect doesn't fluctuate. Hopefully. Or at least it doesn't fluctuate as much, you know. You can build on your self-respect for yourself and you can build it up. And people that value themselves and respect themselves don't tend to continue having these crush feelings towards people that are unavailable to them. Because sometimes, you know, if you fancy someone, you fancy someone. You know, there's nothing really much you can do about that, because that's just Mother Nature's way of saying, hey, this person's really attractive, you know, and you're thinking, oh, yes, they are very attractive. But it's when you dwell on it too much and then you make it into something more, like you make it into a crush, and then you start like paying attention to everything that she does. You know, like, oh God, she just looked at me. Does that mean she likes me? She just looked at me, or she smiled at me, or she's been really nice to me today. Does that mean she's falling in love with me? You know, and you sort of you read into things. And when you start reading into things and starting to imagine things that aren't really there, that's when you start to have problems. And that's when things get too deep. I'll go into a few remedies in a bit. So the next thing that I want to talk about, though, is you just shouldn't mess with other people's girls. Even if the girl seems miserable in the relationship, she still is in that relationship. She still is in that relationship for a reason. So even if you know, like, oh my God, he treats her so bad, there's nothing really much you can do about it, because if she still loves him, then what can you do, you know? Obviously, if it was like a really, really bad relationship and, you know, there's some kind of violence going on or something, then obviously, you know, you need to speak to someone about it, you know. But she's still, if it's nothing like that serious and you just think that he's a bit of a douche, you know, she's still with him. You know, she obviously sees some kind of value in him, and what you see of their relationship is probably only just the tip of the iceberg. There's probably lots of good qualities about him that you don't actually know about. So you don't know. You just don't know. So you should just not mess with other people's partners. Like, that's a rule, right? And the reason why you don't do this is because it's just not the honourable thing to do. Like, someone who is honourable and someone that has high self-respect for themselves, someone that is a genuine, decent person won't try to sweep in and take a girl from someone else. And usually it wouldn't work anyway, but that's all I'm saying. It's just not the right thing to do. So now I'm going to go into one of the things that can help you if you do have low self-respect and low self-esteem. Because if you have respect for yourself, then you would want to be with someone that's available to you, someone that you can actually, go out on a date with, someone that you can actually start a proper relationship with. But if you're crushing on people that are always unavailable to you, that's not respecting yourself. That's just, it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy where you go for people that are unavailable to you, that you know are going to reject you, but you still do it anyway because that's how you feel about yourself. So one of the ways that you can start to remedy this is to start to like being who you are, like enjoy being alone with yourself. First of all, get your head out the gutter. I used to not feel very comfortable being on my own. Like I would always listen to like depressing music and I'd feel crappy about myself anytime that I was alone because I just had these really bad habits that made me feel bad about myself. But when I started to like read books, listen to audiobooks, watch lectures, just really start to value my time alone, and I was using my time alone to do productive things and to boost my respect for myself and my self-esteem. When I started getting into personal development and learning about how to make relationships work and how to date properly, when I started to do that and I started to implement it outward into the world, like I would retreat, would be a bit of a hermit for a bit, learn some new things, and then I would go out into the world and apply them. That's when I started to have more respect for myself, when I started to actually enjoy being me and having my time alone. And I think if you are going to go into a relationship with anybody, you need to enjoy your time alone first, because if suddenly your whole world revolves around the new lady in your life, then suddenly if they leave you or if they cheat on you or if they just walk away, you're going to be absolutely devastated, and you're going to be sitting there trying to pick up the pieces, and you're just going to have even lower self-respect for yourself. It's just going to beat you down, basically. But if you have respect for yourself and you actually enjoy being alone, you understand that when you go into a relationship, like if she does something inappropriate, so let's say she cheats on me, I know that I can walk away and still be happy. So for example, like my partner, if she cheated on me, I would be upset and sad, obviously, because you would after a breakup. But I know that I can pick up the pieces. I know that I can go out there and find someone else. I know that I can have like a good few months of inner reflection and, enjoy my time and then go out and find someone else. Like I know that that can happen for me. I'm not scared of losing my partner. But because of that, I feel so much more free in the relationship, and the relationship is so much more loving because I'm not relying on my partner to make me happy, because I know I can go and do the inner work and make myself happy. I'm content with being alone and with being in a relationship. Those two things, either one is good for me, it doesn't matter. And that's an extremely powerful place to be, because what that means is when you enjoy your time alone and you meet someone who's really great and you think is great, if they're in a relationship, it doesn't matter. In your head, you're like, well, okay, take it or leave it kind of thing, or if you meet someone that you like but doesn't want to be with you, it's like, well, they're lost, I can just, go and find someone else. It's that really can be that simple, and it can really feel that effortless. But because we're so, I guess, fixated on our crushes, and whatever they do dictates our mood so much that we then become dependent on it, and it's bad. It's a bad way to go. So learn to live and learn to love being on your own first. So the next thing I want to get into is an obvious one, and that's to date other women. Date women that are available, or men if you're a woman watching and you like a guy who's in a relationship. Find people who are actually available. Now you might want to look back on your past and have a look at the kind of like the role models that you've had in your life. They could be parents, or they could be teachers, or something else, but adults that you were really close to growing up. Perhaps there is one of those people in your life growing up that was emotionally unavailable to you. That means they probably didn't give you enough pats on the back and saying good job, and you had to keep on proving yourself to them to get their attention. Now that is usually where this kind of thing stems from. There's usually been an event in your past. It could have even been a really close friend that you really admired and you wanted to be friends with them, but they just wasn't giving you the time of day. And usually that's where this stems from, because if you notice, you can see like the mirror. So there's the woman that is unavailable to you, and you're trying to big yourself up to her, and you're trying to impress her in some way. You're noticing every little thing she does to see if there's any kind of approval there. And then there was the parent figure or the friend or the teacher that you also tried to do this to when you was younger. And now you're still kind of in that kind of mindset still, and it's now affecting your romantic life. So you need to be very, very wary of that. And when you understand that, it kind of sets you free, because you think that, oh, okay, the reason I'm doing this is just because I have some unresolved feelings. I have some unresolved feelings to this other person. So once you get that sort of figured out in your head, it makes things a lot easier. So the best remedy for this, obviously, is to date women that are actually available. You know, go online and start dating, you know, if you can't find anyone at your work or something. But I would say, like, at your work or at school, it can be a bit like, oh God, you know, because if something goes wrong, then you're around them all the time. So I personally prefer online dating than any other form, because in this day and age, it just seems to work better. I don't know. I mean, I might be biased because that's how I found my current partner. So one of the sort of techniques that I use to actually attract the partner I have now is that I wrote down basically everything that I wanted in the perfect partner, and I also wrote down all the qualities I didn't want. And because I wrote all that stuff down and I like memorized it, and I became really, really clear on the kind of person I wanted, I then started to see all those kinds of people around, you know. So that's a really good technique if you're trying to attract and you believe in the law of attraction, that kind of thing. If you believe in that kind of stuff, then definitely try it out. Or even if you don't, you know, just try it out, and then you'll see like, oh God, it's so weird. Like, it actually starts to work. You actually start to see people that fit your criteria. So yeah, it's quite odd, but if you're willing to try that, please do. So the fifth thing I want to go into is you could wait for her, but if you have any shred of respect for yourself, you won't do it, because there's this like notion, and you see it a lot in movies and TV, where if you're just nice enough to a woman and you wait for her, she'll see how amazing you are and how lovely you are for just waiting around and being at her beck and call, and, you know, waiting for her for so long. It's so romantic. It's not. It really is not. It comes across as being weak, and that you can't let things go, and it comes across as being needy as well, and kind of a bit stalkerish, borderline stalkerish, if you're like, I'm going to wait for you no matter what. It's like, you know, especially if you say it to her. I mean, if you say that to her, she's going to probably think you're a bit of a creep, and if you work with her, she might call HR. So it's best to just let it go. You know, it can be crushing, especially if you do genuinely really like fancy her and have feelings for her. But there are plenty of other women out there that are available to you, and waiting around for this girl, you could be waiting forever. And I know some of you are thinking, well, she's worth it. She's worth the wait, even if I have to wait forever. But trust me, if a new girl came into your life, a new woman came into your life, and she was 10 times better looking, 10 times nicer, you would fall for her and leave this other girl at the drop of a hat. Trust me, okay? You know, you think that there's nothing else out there better for you than this one girl who has a boyfriend. There are plenty of other girls out there. There are plenty of other available women that are amazing, that are ready and willing to date you and think that you're great, okay? There are plenty of people out there. It kind of blew my mind, actually, quite recently, where my friend, who I've been friends with for a long time, had broken up with their partner, and they were like, oh, I'm never going to find anyone else. And it's like, you are, because first of all, my friend's straight, so obviously the dating pool's a lot larger, you know, because I used to think this way as well, being a lesbian. I used to think when I broke up with any ex that I had, I'll think, oh my God, I'm never going to find anyone else. I'm never going to find another available girl. you know. And obviously the lesbian dating pool is obviously a lot smaller as well than like the straight dating pool, because, you know, we're a minority. There's not as many, you know, homosexual people as there are straight people. So, you know, I used to think that. And then when she said that, you know, who's straight, and there's plenty of guys out there, I was like, what? Like, there are so many people out there for you. It's a joke, you know. There's so many available people out there. You just gotta look. You just gotta keep on looking. So, yeah. I know you can wait for her if you want, but there's absolutely no guarantee that she will break up with him to be with you. And you don't want to be with someone that will break up with them to be with you, because they might do that to you. I mean, if she breaks up with you and is like, okay, I'll be with you, I'm going to break up with him, I'm going to be with you now. You know, who's to say she's not going to do that to you, like, in a few months' time? And also, she might not never break up with him. So you're just going to be waiting around, and then, you know, in a couple of months' time, she might get engaged to him, or she might get married to him, and it's like, well, what then? You know, you've got to go out there and play the field and start looking for people that are actually available to you. Anyway, bit of tough love. If you like this video, please like, and if you also like this kind of video, like what you've seen, like this kind of advice, then please subscribe. If you would like to get in touch with me personally and would like coaching or mentoring, and I can help you with any situation that you are going through, then please head over to www.christineloveridge.com/shop and get some coaching. And I shall talk to you again very soon. Bye guys.